Okay, so let's go ahead and begin today's Spec Talk with SpecLink. Again, my name is Alex Baer. I am a Senior Strategic Account Manager here with SpecLink. And we're located here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been with the company for about 15 years. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about who our company is, RIB, and the software that we provide, also the current challenges that we face and address specifically in the industry and the need for digitization when it comes to the specifications, both from a process and a standards perspective. And we'll go through a live walkthrough of the specification process and program, highlighting the collaborative, intelligent, data-based approach. And we'll also have an opportunity for questions and answers towards the end of the session as well. So a little bit about us, RIB, Revolution in Building. We're a global leader of software technology fit for purpose for the AEC industry. So our software companies are located throughout the globe. We are dedicated specifically to digitizing the design process for architects and engineers and building owners. Our company's been around for about 60 years. We are in about 100 plus different countries. We have about 550,000 users or more. And we are also owned by Schneider Electric. So we are a part of that umbrella and are able to leverage those relationships to better service the AEC industry. So a little bit about our client base. So we are primarily working with project architects and engineers that are looking to develop their project specifications, but we are also working with building owners. Here are a few that you can see here on screen, like commercial organizations like Ford or New York City Housing Authority. We work with different municipalities and jurisdictions and school districts and healthcare organizations who are looking to build out and better manage and disseminate their guidance specifications. So anyone that's looking to streamline the specification writing process to minimize errors and omissions through better streamlined coordination, that's exactly what we do. Okay, so within the system, or before we get into the system, sorry, some of the complex challenges in the industry that we are looking at specifically today. There's about an 80% average cost overrun when it comes to design. That's kind of a standard thing that we're seeing. Schedule delays of up to 20 months, low productivity margins. That's typically based on companies as a result of the lack of productivity, and then communication gaps and quality losses. That's up to almost $550 billion on an annual basis. So there's huge need to streamline processes to bring together a better approach for design and construction, getting all team members, getting consensus up front for important design elements so that things go smoothly through the construction process. Now, when it comes to the specifications themselves, we have, design professionals, owners are being slowed down by the inability to enforce standards and produce quality specifications. So because traditionally design teams, architects, engineers are working out of Word documents, there's no single source of truth. And so there's a proliferation of folders and files. Things are going out of date very easily. It's difficult to monitor what's the latest version control issues on specifications, out-of-date specifications that lead to confusion and chaos during design and construction. So the other challenge is it's very difficult to have any sort of a good global library. So repeatability is a big challenge with the specifications as well, and having good ways to enforce standards through good office masters. And that's going to also kind of stem into issues with lack of traceability, the inability to enforce standards good, meet sustainability targets, difficulties reporting on specification information, and inabilities to link, which we'll get into a little bit later on here in the presentation. But it can be a very reactive process when you're talking about the specifications and specification writing using something in word processing. And then this is actually further coupled by challenges in general education around specifications. So as most of us know, specifications are not something that are typically traditionally taught on in design school. So you've got a lack of of awareness on how to write good, solid, and consistent specifications. And the other piece is that with the generational gaps, baby boomers, some Generation X used to have a lot more dedicated, what we would call chief specification writers in firms that were single-handedly managing the specification writing for all of the firm, while the remainder of the staff was solely focused on the drawings. That particular role is starting to fade out of the industry. So we're seeing less of those types of roles that are available for these dedicated specification writers. And at the same token, there are less specification consultants that are available for firms to outsource their specifications. So it's becoming more newly important that the current millennials, Gen Z, have good tools to help bridge the gap that provide good quality control and consistency throughout the specification writing process. So what's the business impact of all of these challenges that we talked about? Definitely missed deadlines through poor communication between different teams and disciplines. You've also got ineffective coordination of workflows, making sure that the drawings are coordinated with the specifications, unnecessary project delays. So that's all leading to missed deadlines. You've also got higher costs because not only is it taking more time to write the specifications with no sound, consistent, centralized processes, but it's also a much more reactive process. You've got more errors and omissions to address because things are not in sync, they aren't coordinated, they aren't up to date. And that's increasing RFIs, change orders, financial risk due to potential liability. So that's not going to lead towards a project that's on track, on time. That leads to unhappy clients. And the quicker that we can get these deadlines met, and the more sound the design process up front, the better, smoother the process of construction. Tenants can get into the building, and the owners happy and on their way with their business objectives. So today we're going to be talking about specifically SpecLink Cloud. And it's a collaborative data-driven specification platform built on intelligence. So what we're doing is we know there's a need for help. It's how do we get there? And with teams being overwhelmed by the lack of digitization and efficiency, again, very difficult for any sort of good, sustainable approaches and consistent approaches through the specifications. So SpecLink we'll be introducing here today. It is an intelligent database that actually balances both your global standards with your local flexibility. So what that means is it gives you the ability to identify your different design standards, whether you work specifically on healthcare projects, maybe you work more on K through 12 or higher ed, maybe you're more into commercial. So you're able to build out a database that digitizes those specific different types of design standards in a database that will absorb that and kind of tee that up for use continually on future projects. And then there's a project overlay. So the way that it's built, it's an edit by selection, which we'll get into, which allows you to kind of pick and choose the information that you want to include, whether you need to take some things out or add some things back in, but it stores that sort of digital starting point or bookmark that drives a much sharper pencil towards the specification outcome. We also have continual updates that are being pushed in. So of course, specifications, very much a living, breathing process. We have a team of about 15 full-time spec writers that are going through and reviewing the content to make sure that the different building codes and the reference standards, the manufacturers, the product information, new technologies, all of those sorts of things are staying constantly up to date, so that you can continually use your templates and manage a straightforward and direct process for each and every project specification. And overall, the digital transformation drives efficiency, resiliency, and sustainability. You've got the ability to kind of bring more time back to other activities. If you don't have to rewrite your specifications on each and every project, you've got a lot more time to make specific decisions about the unique design elements of the project and get more time to go back to the drawings or to other projects. So that's going to drive down costs, and it's going to improve your overall ROI, as you'll have more time, more billable time for other billable work as well. So better quality, better collaboration, lower cost, and better transparency through the overarching process. And from a business standpoint, most of our clients are seeing a time savings of somewhere around 40 to 50% of time. So they're able to reduce their time through different things like we'll go through our intelligent linking, which ties together different parts of the specification. It helps to make sure that things are coordinated correctly, edit by inclusion, to pick or select or unselect the things that you want, but you always have everything visible in front of you. And then Office Masters are extremely good throughout the program to help you start from a good template. You have global formatting available. You also have things that are going to help to drive better integration with your Revit model. So we have a lot of really nice Revit integration and BIM integration tools that are built into SpecLink, along with good team collaboration tools as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started into SpecLink. This is the SpecLink Cloud software, is what you see here on screen. And this is the 4th generation of our software. We are the official CSI partner, or partner of CSI, the Construction Specification Institute. This is the 4th edition or version of our software, but SpecLink Cloud, it's been around since about 2018, serving architects and engineers globally. So you've got unlimited support. One thing to mention, you've got the ability to contact our support team. They're available via phone, via email, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. You've also got the ability to sign up for new user webinars. We have both a 1-hour and we have a 3-hour webinar that's available monthly that you can sign up for more beginner and more advanced training, but that's going to give you a very in-depth insight into getting started and really leveraging the program for maximum efficiency out of the gate. And we also have an online user guide as well that's built into the system that's kind of more available for proactive research if you wanted to kind of watch a quick video on something. We have different quick start lessons and things like that that will get you quickly into the system or help to kind of address a particular question as the need comes up while you're in the software. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and click on the login button right here, and this will gain me access into SpecLink Cloud. And each user will have their own username and login. You do have the ability to reset that at any given time as well. So very easy to reset, but each user does have their own login, so no need to share licenses or have to step on each other's toes when it comes to collaborating and editing or writing specifications. Now, when we get into SpecLink Cloud, we've got some different tabs here at the top. I'm going to kind of quickly breeze through these to kind of give you an idea of how the system's organized, and then we'll get into the specifics of writing the specifications. So here we have a projects tab. This is going to have all of our different project files. Now, the great thing within SpecLink is that all of your divisions and all of your sections are going to be located inside of one database file. So in the way of anything that may typically be very consuming, time processing, aggravating, when it comes to things like headers and footers or fonts and styles or printing out the specifications. That can be very tedious and time consuming when you're doing something like that in word processing. So the great news in SpecLink, everything's kind of rolling up to one project file. So anything in the nature of those sorts of workflows will be global within the system. So you're able to cross your T's and dot your I's from a global standpoint very, very quickly and accurately. We also have a tab here now for our Office Master. So again, this is an area that you can set up specific templates for different types of work that you have. So you have the ability to, you can set up different Office Masters for sectors of work, whether it be healthcare, commercial, or multifamily. If it's a repeat client that you work with, maybe it's a certain jurisdiction or state that uses different building codes. So you can set up different templates that are going to be kind of pre-structured for and towards designed towards the that particular type of design. Now, within the SpecLink system, there's a couple things that really make Office Masters very palatable, sustainable, and just transparent. The first thing is that we do, like I mentioned earlier, we're pushing out continual content updates. We have a full team of in-house spec writers. We also have an independent peer review committee as well. And we're pushing out updates on a regular basis. And you can actually sort the sections by sections that have those updates available. So I can very easily come into, let's say, a weather barrier section, and I can see, okay, I have 81 updates available. And I can check these at any given time. But these updates are going to be kind of pinpointed for me. I can see what's being added, what's being maybe modified, and I can take those updates and I can accept those directly into my custom Office Master. So it's truly just going to update that specification and make sure that everything is brought up to date without interfering with the integrity and the design and the customization of your Office Masters. The other key piece, again, is it is an edit by selection system. So you are coming through and actually selecting what we want to print as opposed to deleting things out that you wouldn't want to incorporate. But what that really does is that brings full transparency to the process. So if anyone's familiar with kind of reusing an older project spec on the 11th hour because it's similar nature and there's limited time, the challenge is you're only left behind with the information that went to print. So anything that is maybe needed from the initial office master, maybe that's newly relevant, you've either have to have a perfect memory to know that those things are missing and then go back to the master, and then you have to do a lot of copying and pasting to bring those things and cobble that back into one document. So with the edit by selection, again, everything is going to be available right in front of you. So you can very easily see all the things that are kind of available from the master. You can add things in, you can take things out, but it drives a much more straightforward workflow and something that our users feel much more comfortable with. Okay, so you've got Office Masters, you've got your Projects tab. You've also got an opportunity if you want to share any particular project specification with any outside consultants or architects, engineers, building owners, manufacturers. You can take a project specification in SpecLink Cloud and you can type in that person's email. You'd be able to identify what part of the specification they would have access to. And then you can also choose if they have the ability to either view the specifications, if you want to give them commenting access, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, or if they're a SpecLink user, they can also co-edit in the specification. So all of those options are available to you in the way of collaboration and making sure that other team members are brought into the loop early in the design process to gain good consensus and make sure that all the ducks are in a row. And then lastly here, we have a BIM library tab. So this is an area where we can upload different Revit files. We have different opportunities to kind of scan the active Revit model in the library to identify recommended suggested spec sections for inclusion and different content to be included. We have different pairing tools and coordination tools to build out keynote lists based on what are included in the specification. We also have a 3D viewer as well that helps to do a 3D walkthrough of the building for visual as you're going through and making those coordinations with the specs and the Revit model. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. You also have a document library that allows you to upload different PDFs if you have different PDFs you'd like to associate to a particular set of specifications, whether on the front end or in the technical sections. So I'm going to come back here to the Projects tab. I'm going to go ahead and create a new project at this point. And I'm going to choose Active Project. Now I'm going to start with the master content. If I want to, however, make a copy of an Office Master or an pre-existing project, I can certainly do that too. But I'm going to start with the base master content. We have some different options. We have a US version, we have a Canadian version as well. And we'll go ahead and give this project file a name. Okay, and let's say that the project's in San Francisco. So we'll kind of give it a location. We'll decide the type of project. Is it going to be for new construction, or maybe it's an addition, maybe it's a historical preservation project. So this is just going to allow us to give a little bit of quick detail to that project spec as we get into the system. Now, as we see here, we have all of our different divisions and sections. I can also import from any particular project. So not only can I make a copy of an Office Master or a pre-existing project, but if there's something specific from a particular project I want to bring in a couple different sections, I can do that too. So it's very easy to kind of plug and play within the system and pull in any potential or applicable templates for starting points within our new SpecLink project file. Now, as we get into it, I'm going to start to select some different sections for incorporation inside of my project spec. And then I'm going to open up a section here, aluminum doors and frames. And that will open up here in our browser. I can also open up multiple sections in different browsers as well. Now, the system will edit just like word processing. So I can come in here, I can delete text, I can add text, all those good things, just like it can do inside of Word. The main difference, again, is that it's an edit by selection tool. So we're going in and we're actually selecting or cherry picking the information inside of the database file that we want to print in the final document. Now, as we go through the selection process, as we begin to choose key applicable things, what really enables the program, and hence the product name SpecLink, is we have hundreds and thousands of these what we call spec links, or intelligent links, that are built inside of each section. And they work in 3 different ways, but they're designed to help coordinate the specification. The first link that you see here at paragraph 91, this is a green link, or an activation link. So based on a previous choice, this paragraph is automatically being turned on or populated for print or inclusion because of its intuitive nature and need to the project. Now, at the same time, we also have a yellow link here. This is going to be something that highlights a potential inclusion. So it's not going to automatically turn it on, although I went ahead and manually chose it there, but it's going to kind of provide that as a clue or as a potential item to incorporate. And as we move down a little bit further into the spec, you'll see how these links start to branch out further. We also have a third link, which is a red link. In the case there's situations here, like we have 3 different facing choices based on different measurements, thickness options, things like that. If I choose the first option, SpecLink would also put a red stop sign next to the contradictory options. So it helps us to kind of group in the things that are needed within the spec, while at the same time it helps placing guardrails and barriers to prevent something contradictory going to the spec that might cause a unnecessary change order or RFI. So a lot of time savings, a lot of consistency gains through this process, whether you're a spec writer of 20 years or whether you are fairly new to specifications. These links are extraordinarily helpful to our end users and provide a lot of guidance. Now, you always have any direct decision, so you can certainly decide to incorporate something that was recommended against. You can certainly take something out that was chosen by one of the links. So you have full control, but it does provide another set of eyes that are looking at the specification as you're making your edits. The links are going to work from part 2 throughout different parts of the part 2 information, like the products and the materials. They will also circle back to information in part 1 as well. So things like what's included in the section, or what's included in the the reference standards up front. Those sorts of things are going to be coordinated and automatically pulled in as you make your part 2 selections. You can also, if you come down here to part 3, you're going to see that certain installation procedures are also going to be brought in based on those particular materials that we're choosing in part 2. So it is very much integrated. It's designed to help bring together the specification much quicker and with a much higher degree of accuracy. We also have blue text that's sprinkled throughout the specification that represents a choice. So anytime that you do see some sort of blue text, that's something you have the ability to come into the document. You can come in here. I can click on a choice. I can make different choices, and those will always be available to me. So the choices help to guide different decisions, key decisions, as we're going through the editing process as well. With the specifications, there's 3 different versions that are always available for every technical section. So right now we're looking at the full spec, which includes all the information in part 1, 2, and 3. We also have a outline spec, which is going to be just information in part 2. And then we also have a short form specification. This one's going to give us a little bit of information in part 1 and part 3 as well. And the great thing is here, you can use these different phases for different levels or sizes of projects. If it's a larger project, you may need to incorporate all 3 phases. Let's say it's schematic design, design development, and construction documents. So when you make these different changes and edits in the outline or short form, those will kind of bleed forward into the more expansive version, in this case, the short form or the full spec option. So all 3 of those versions do come available with SpecLink Cloud. In addition to that, there is also an ability to print specifications out to sheet specs. So if you typically do a lot of retail work, maybe your interiors projects, interior fit outs, you can take a set of specifications. You can choose the number of columns, you can choose the sort of the paper size, and you can automatically take that spec and it will print it out to sheet specs for notes on drawings. So a very kind of versatile tool in the sense of how you can deliver things. Especially in the 11th hour, as something is maybe requested, there's a change in the winds, you can very easily reproduce something in the nature that it needs to be furnished or provided for that project. Now, as we're going through, we've talked about a lot of the editing tools that help us to bring together the specification and coordinate the specification. In addition to the editing and the automation, we have a lot of resources that are built into SpecLink too. So anytime you see a little orange icon here to the left of a paragraph, that means that there's some sort of a master note. Okay, and I can come through here, I can click through, and these master notes are going to be available, and they're going to provide different contexts, whether it's kind of what to when statements or information with hyperlinks to different reference standards that I can view free details on those standards. If it's the manufacturers, we also have these what we call enhanced listings that give specific information on this particular manufacturers and the particular products. So a lot of insight that's directly available for you as you're going through and making edits to your specification. You can also add in your own notes as well. So if you wanted to use a note, let's say, prefer Arcadia for K through 12. Okay, you can add a quick note of your own within your either project file or office master, and that will then be kind of set alone as its own note to the specifier moving forward. So again, because we're in an edit by inclusion scenario, we are building and building and building on our office masters and our corporate memory. So the idea is to make these specifications as familiar as possible to us, so that, you know, as we continue to write specifications, our work gets sharper, faster. We're able to do things in less time and make a better profit on our projects. From a formatting perspective, as mentioned, everything is going to be global. So you do have the opportunity to, for instance, these are global terms on the right. We have the opportunity to make some changes, kind of right size the specification on a global basis. Here we have the architect name, if that, you know, if you wanted to specify who that is directly here, or the prime engineer, or maybe it's the, you know, the building owner that you want to make sure that you specify. This will disseminate that wording change throughout the entire spec book. So whether it be in your front end specs or your technical specs, if you're in the 11th hour again, and you need to make sure that the specification is updated from the last project or template to the current you know, situation, you can very quickly do that accurately, consistently within SpecLink. As mentioned, the system is also built for collaboration. So if you have somebody that you'd like to have provide some feedback on the specification during the editing process, you can share the project file with as many different contributors as you like. And when they hover over a paragraph, what you'll see is they have a little plus mark symbol right here that they can add a comment. They can also take that comment, they can assign it to a particular person too. So they can say, Daniel, please let me know if we should use XYZ. And what happens is that actually be directed to Daniel. So Daniel will receive a notification directly inside of SpecLink Cloud that'll take him directly to that part of the project. And then he'll have the opportunity as well to respond to that. Yes, approved. So this is going to document anything that you need to document while gaining good consensus on important design elements of the project. Once you're done with the that particular comment, you can also mark that as resolved, and it will remove it from the punch list. You can always sort back through those memorialized comments, but everything is going to be, you know, kind of shown in the punch list for a to-do or marked as resolved. Okay, we talked about other things like headers and footers. Those are going to be available from a global standpoint in SpecLink. If I wanted to make a change to my headers and footers, no longer do I have to go through every single section to make that change now. I can certainly or simply come into SpecLink and I can make those adjustments on a global basis. I can come in here and I can, you know, I can choose my division name. I can choose my section ID or section name. So these are different kind of quick picks or intelligent choices that you can choose from that will automatically disseminate that right information to that right place in the specification. Makes it very, very easy to do that. Okay, and then same thing goes for the actual the actual formatting. So I can come into the system. I can choose, let's say I typically use AIA versus CSI. Well, that's a quick template within SpecLink Cloud. So I can just simply choose that, and it's going to update the full specification book to that fonts, file, spacing, formatting, things like that. And this is also truly customizable. So if you need or have a particular client that usually uses the AIA format, but let's say that they bold the first few levels of indentation, you can very easily customize your own templates as well. So it'll take that information and it will apply that sort of formatting scheme, and then that particular template will also be added into your library. So those will be saved and available for different clients where you need to make some quick adjustments. Now, as we're kind of rounding the corner here on the presentation, a couple other quick things to show you. You do have automatic reporting that does come with the system. We've tagged different paragraphs to different available reports. We have about 40 or so different available reports within the system. And within the program here, as you come in here and you select the different content that you want, for instance, for the submittals, these paragraphs are tagged to these different reports. So I can come directly to my reporting menu, and I can quickly extract a quick submittals log that's going to provide all of the different submittals that are being requested for that particular project in an Excel format that I can easily keep track of what's been received or what's pending to the actual project. I can take this and provide it directly to the contractor. So this is going to be all available directly within the system. So you've got different types of reports that are available. It's very easy to print the specification. When you come to print the specifications, I can come in here. I can choose to print out an entire project all at once. I can choose to print out individual divisions or individual sections, let's say it's for an addenda. I can also choose to include my track changes. And I do have the ability to also generate or print an automatic table of contents. Okay, so that's all going to be available for you in the printing menu. Now, one thing that we haven't had a chance to quite touch on yet is the Revit integration. So SpecLink's very popular for its abilities to integrate the specifications to the Revit model directly, help to improve the coordination, make sure that the drawings and the specs align and that they stay aligned. If I were to open up a particular project file that has a Revit file loaded into it, here we have the ability to actually extract and see all of the various different objects that are live within that particular model. And I can sort those families or those objects by different families. I can sort by particular categories or levels of the building. So all of that's going to be available to me directly within the system. And what happens here is we're able to read sort of on a multi-pronged basis different data points. So things like the family name, the type name, the keynote, or even the assembly code. We read all of those different variables within our backend AI database. It's a pairing engine. What it does is it begins to read that information, and then it has the ability to start suggesting the potential spec sections for inclusion in the project. So it's a great tool to help coordinate the specifications with the drawing. I can turn on the specifications here. This will be turned on inside of my project file. I can also choose at the bottom right different components as well that I'd like to incorporate. So all of that's going to be available to me within the system. I can also choose different related sections while I'm looking at this. And if it's something that I will definitely use in the future, I can also choose to click this R button right here. That'll coordinate that as kind of a hard linked option. So it's going to make that kind of a permanent link. So as anytime in the future that this particular shelving section is turned on, it's going to turn on my manufactured metal casework. So the system's a learned system. It's designed to grow in intelligence as you leverage the tools and map out the particular objects to the specifications. The system does also allow you to track changes. So as the project progresses, you can take a new version of that same model, and you can come in here and see what that looks like. So I can compare those different iterations of the model. Okay, I can see what's been added, what's been modified, what's been removed. So very easy, a lot of transparency here in the tool. And that's really what SpecLink's all about. It's about transparency, visibility, and connectability. So again, I can kind of come in here, I can see what's been added, I can make modifications to the specification. You can also take, there's also a 3D viewer that's built into the system that will give you a direct walkthrough of the building as you're making that mapping and comparisons and pairings. It is not going to require a Revit license, so it does come with the system. It's a great viewing tool. We also have the ability to extract a keynote list. So based on the different specification sections and content that you have selected, SpecLink will also generate a TXT file that you can take directly from SpecLink and import directly into your Revit model to update those keynotes for assignments. So that's all going to be built throughout the system. But again, SpecLink Cloud, yeah, it's a great tool. It helps a lot of architects and engineers save a lot of time. Once they get their Office Masters, it really set up, they know them like the back of their hand. So again, that gives our clients a lot more time back to focus on making strategic decisions in the specifications, as opposed to having to rewrite the specification each time and focus on all the manual aspects that are typically associated with specifications when you're looking at them with word processing. So time savings, better productivity, better coordination, better outcomes with SpecLink. So at that point in time, let's see here. I do not see any questions currently that have been asked. So I'm going to end our presentation with the guide. The guide is available here at the top right of SpecLink. It's available by clicking on this question mark button. So at any point in time, should you have any questions while you're in the system, we have a quick video for just about everything. If you have a quick, need a quick video reminder on how to set up, let's say, your headers and your footers, I can kind of do a quick, 2-3 minute video that's going to tell me exactly how to do that. So different quick start kind of videos that are topical in nature, those are available. We have different quick start lessons inside of SpecLink that will walk you through the ABCs of using the program. And then, as mentioned, we have unlimited technical support via phone and email. And we also have a free 1 hour and a 3 hour webinar that we provide monthly. You can sign up for that once, or you can sign up for that multiple times. But our goal is to get our users as intimate and as familiar with the software as possible, so that you're able to take your specifications to the next level. So with that being said, we greatly appreciate everybody's time here today. We would like to encourage that if you do have any questions whatsoever, that you would please let us know. We would love to sit down and have a one-on-one conversation with your firm and learn more specifically about what your specification software needs and goals are, and understand different firms are working with different staff and different projects and workflows. So we're here to help. We do also have a ability to set up a free 14-day trial. So if you may be interested in seeing directly what the software may look like or the advantages that it would have for your firm, we can set that up here for you too. And that's a 14-day trial that we can get it set up for as many users as you'd like. So again, here's my contact information. Again, we greatly appreciate the interest in SpecLink Cloud. And if you'd like, we'd love to talk with you a little bit further about your specification needs, or get you set up with a free trial, or get you going with the program. So again, my name is Alex Baer with SpecLink. We greatly appreciate your time and interest today. Thanks so much.